Should you spend the entire month of November writing a 50,000 word novel? That's the question we're asking here today. National Novel Writers Month is a nonprofit that promotes creativity around the world. Their flagship program is an annual event where writers all over the world attempt to write a 50,000 word novel during the month of November. So that's 1 to 2 hours a day at least of your time, 1,700 words a day on average. Is this a good use of your writing time or a complete waste of time? So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 questions to help you know whether you should spend November writing a 50,000 word novel and if that will actually get you closer to your goals as a writer. My name is Tim Grahl. I'm the CEO of StoryGrid. I've been working with writers for 15 years. My partner is Sean Coyne. He's the creator and founder of StoryGrid. And everything I teach in this video and all the training at StoryGrid is based on his 30 plus years experience researching as a writer and an editor. So I have actually won NaNoWriMo 3 times. So that means I actually started and finished the 50,000 word novel in the month of November. And so why I wanted to create this video is to help you avoid the pitfalls that I fell into. Because I'll tell you, not a single one of those novels did I ever publish because they were horrible, because I was a bad writer. And to make matters worse, I was further away from my goals as a writer at the end of the month than at the beginning. So I don't want that to happen to you. So let's look at whether you should participate in NaNoWriMo this year. So let's look at your goals as a writer. The first question I have is your goal to create a writing habit? So are you not currently writing, but you're hoping doing something like NaNoWriMo will help you create that habit? Unfortunately, it's going to have the opposite effect. Even if you get through the entire month of writing 1,700 words a day, which is really hard to do, especially if you have no writing habit at all, what we've seen over and over, the research coming out, is pushing towards a short-term goal actually will hurt you in creating a habit, because what happens is you get to that goal and then you stop. And it is so common for writers to finish NaNoWriMo and then not write anything else for weeks or months after. Especially with something that takes so much of your time each day, it's more likely that you get to the end of the month and you stop even if you successfully hit your goal. So if you want to create a new writing habit, doing NaNoWriMo will get you further away from that. And I'm going to talk more about that and what you should do instead in just a couple minutes. So question number 2, are you already a successful writer with books under your belt that are selling well? If that's the case and you want to do NaNoWriMo, go for it. It might be fun to do this, to challenge yourself, or to do it with a community. And so, yeah, if you already know how to write a working book and you've done it before and you want to do NaNoWriMo, absolutely, you should jump in and take advantage of the month of November. That leads us to question number 3. Do you want to just tell people that you wrote a book? Well, NaNoWriMo is a good way to do that. You can finish an entire manuscript in a single month, and at the end, you can tell all your friends and family that you wrote a book. If that's your goal, absolutely do it. It'll help you reach that goal. Now, if you want to write a book that is publishable, that actually works, that is readable, is something you could edit into a book that you eventually publish, well, it's probably not going to help you get there, but you will be able to say that you wrote and finished a book. And now we're at question 4. Do you want to actually improve as a writer? Do you want to level up your skills in writing and get closer to the goals of becoming the writer you want to be? If that's the case, you should not spend the month of November churning out a 50,000 word manuscript that doesn't work. At the end, you'll have an unusable draft that is uneditable. You will have reinforced bad writing habits, and you'll have wasted 30 more days and not gotten any closer to becoming the kind of writer you want to be. You'll be worse off than when you started. This is what we've seen at StoryGrid over and over and over. If you can't consistently write a well-written, compelling scene that moves reader through the end and excited to read your next scene, there is no reason to sit down and write an entire book, because all you will have is lots and lots of scenes that don't work and don't add up to a working manuscript. And then adding the pressure of churning out 1,700 words a day minimum will just reinforce the bad habits and make you write even worse than you normally do. So if you're coming up on November and you were already planning on doing NaNoWriMo, and then maybe now I've talked you out of it, what should you do instead? You're going to set aside an hour or two a day to work on your writing. So what can you do that will actually make you a better writer throughout the month of November? First, study a masterwork. Identify a book in your genre that is at the top of its field, that has stood the test of time, that readers come back to over and over and over, that continues to sell year after year, decade after decade, even century after century. And then spend your time studying that masterwork. We have lots of tools that you can use to do this as StoryGrid. You can go scene by scene and identify the 5 commandments of storytelling. You can look at each level of objects of desire. You can look at the full manuscript and look at the genre conventions and obligatory moments. You can go line by line and look at how the writer is valencing their language and getting their opinion across. I'll put some of these StoryGrid tools down in the description, but the idea here is that you're going to spend the month studying Masterworks. If you're not sure where to start, we actually have some really great resources for you. If you go to storygrid.com/books, we have several masterwork guides there where you can go scene by scene and learn from a master writer in your genre. So that's number 1, spend the month studying Masterworks. Number 2, practice individual writing skills. So outside of writing, if you look at any other creative practice like playing the guitar, learning to paint, learning to woodwork, there is this basic set of skills that you have to learn in order to use your creativity. If you're learning the guitar, you can't just sit down and randomly play notes hoping that they sound good. You learn things like chords, how to string a guitar, how to tune a guitar, how to strum a guitar, how to pick a guitar, how to play your scales. There's all these basic skills you have to learn, and then you get to be creative. Writing is the same way. There are basic skills that we teach all the time on this channel and at our website, storygrid.com, that will walk you through actually getting better at becoming a writer. You can practice your objects of desire, valencing your language, writing scenes with clear 5 commandments. There's all kinds of stuff you could do. Just pick 1 or 2 skills and focus on getting better at those during the month of November instead of churning out a draft, and you'll be a better writer after the 30 days. The third thing you can do is build a sustainable writing habit. So I said earlier that if you don't have a writing habit, if you're not writing on a regular basis, doing NaNoWriMo will actually hurt your goal of creating a writing habit. So how do you actually create a habit where you sit down and write every day? The first thing to do is pick a small amount of words. 1,700 words is way too big. Let's pick something small. I say 200 words, just 200 words a day, and attach it to something you already do and do it at the same time every day. So if the first thing you do in the morning is get up and make a cup of coffee and then sit down and drink it, that's when you do your writing. Sit down and just write 200 words. All you have to do is write 200 words, and that's a win. If you do that every single day through the month of November, that habit is much more likely to keep going because it's small and it's attainable and it's something that you can keep doing for a long period of time. And then over time, you can start ratcheting it up as you dedicate more time to your writing. But just pick a small amount of words, do it the same time every single day, and that's how you'll actually build a writing habit. Your fourth option during the month of November is to join a StoryGrid training. We always have trainings going on to help you with your scene writing, help you develop your story theme, and other options. So if you join one of our workshops, you will actually get feedback on your writing, focus on specific skills, and throughout the month of November, you're going to get better as a writer. So again, if you're thinking about doing NaNoWriMo, writing a 50,000 word novel during the month of November, I just want you to stop and think if that's going to be the best use of your time that will get you closer to your goals as a writer. Again, if you're already an established writer that can write a working book and you want to use November to write a 50,000 word novel, go for it. If you just want to churn out a manuscript so you can tell your friends and family, hey, I wrote a book, then go for it. But if you want to become a better writer, level up your skills, and start moving towards becoming the type of writer you want to be, do not use November churning out a manuscript that's just going to get you further from your goals. Instead, study a masterwork, practice individual skills, build an actual writing habit, or join one of the StoryGrid trainings. Over at storygrid.com, we have lots of articles and videos to help you level up your skills as a writer. We have books and trainings to do that as well. So make sure you go to storygrid.com, sign up for the newsletter, and browse around. Also, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that bell so you get notified every time I put out a new video on our YouTube channel. But as always, thanks for being a writer. Thanks for being a part of our community here at StoryGrid, and I'll see you next time.